Welcome to the Dynasty Playbook. Our milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, but they can't have it. It's my milkshake. I'm your host, Drew. You can find me on Twitter at DrewDotsonNFL. With me is my co-host, Tyler. You can find him on Twitter at HBombIDP. And you can also tell he's the guy with the extremely confused look on his face. How you doing today, bud?
I'm doing good, but my on-air signal's not lit up. It just says off-air, so I wasn't ready. You caught me off guard.
Well, good. I thought that look was in reference to milkshakes because I'm pretty sure you like milkshakes. I like milkshakes.
That was a intro for me. I don't want to go meh, but I'm going to go But
That's
I do
fair.
like milkshakes.
I do like milkshakes. That was the driving point for that intro for me. Like, who doesn't like milkshakes besides Ryan? We know Ryan doesn't like milkshakes, but Ryan doesn't like anything that's good. We're not.
He's anti-fun.
Y'all don't know Ryan, though, so we're not going to get into that here. We just want to start off the show real quick. Thanks so much to FF Couch Coach at ffcouchcoach.com for hosting this podcast there. He's also hosting a new podcast. What is it, Dynasty Red Zone?
I think that's right, yeah.
And they're kind of our new brothers in arms there. So if you haven't yet, check them out. See what they got going on. They're new. They're still getting their footing, but it'll be a good product coming on. And we're gonna just jump right into it. That whole point of this doing a second show this week was to get in some more prospects before the draft because we missed so many episodes. So we'll jump right into the first guy who we are revisiting from a previous evaluation, and that's Devontae Booker. He's 5'11", 219, plays from Utah, and he's about 1 billion years old. In reality, he's going to be 24 when the season starts. And I liked what I saw out of him last offseason, but there was still something that didn't quite click for me. And it went kind of the same way with me. I saw things I liked, and then I started seeing the same stuff I didn't like. He's got very good balance. He's a very fluid mover. He's an excellent pass catcher. But when you ask him to start doing work in between the tackles, he struggles. If he finds a gap, if he gets through the line, he's making big yardage. But if it's even tight, he's going to get stuffed at the line. And I thought about it, and I think my comparison for him is he's an older Bishop Sankey, because that's exactly who Sankey was for me coming out in 2014. Sankey could catch the ball. If you got him outside of the tackles, he could do work. He was quick, and he was slippery. But he couldn't do shit between the tackles. It wasn't going to happen. The only difference is Sankey was more likely to just bounce it outside if he didn't see something, where Booker gets kind of confused and just keeps going forward into a wall of just fat men. So, and I had one other note I wanted to touch on with Booker. Utah's all-red uniforms are ugly as fuck. Good God, they are ugly. I stopped in the middle of it. I'm like, if you're a Utah fan, how can you look at those and be okay with that? It's just,
yeah, it's pretty repulsive. The all solid colors are generally kind of tough to look at for me.
it's kind of like when Jacksonville and Tennessee did their weird color fuck uniforms.
Yeah, and Jacksonville's in like the Dookie Brown / spicy mustard looking color. Just, that was bad. I like Booker. I do. If Booker was 21 years old, I'd like him a heck of a lot more. You know, the entry age, he's going to be 24 in a month. All right. That's not old. You know, that's a young man. But in a year or two from now, you're going to be looking at him and going, Jesus Christ, he's still on his first contract and he's 26 years old, about to be 27 years old. I mean, what's his shelf life? It's not long enough, man. It's just not long enough for what he's going to go in the rookie drafts. He's going to go in the top 15 picks of probably every rookie draft. He's a good player. I've heard his most common comp is Arian Foster. Now, obviously, that's best case scenario, but he's that kind of runner. He's the one cut runner. He's gonna do well in a zone read. I could see him being a good pro back. I just worry about his longevity simply because of his age. Period. I do think he's a fine player. He's my RB5 pretty comfortably, but my RB5 that I'm probably not going to be drafting outside of him falling really far in a startup or something.
Yeah, see, I've got him at 8 because I'm still taking Perkins over him. I'm still taking Kenyon Drake over him, and there's one other I can't remember. Oh no, I don't know. I still probably take Collins over him too, to be honest.
Oh, gross, dude!
Yeah, don't even. We know why I like Collins. He's Isaiah Crowell 2.0 for me, but he's not really 2.0. He's like 1.0 rehashed Isaiah Crowell. I want another chance at my dreams coming true.
He's like Isaiah Crowell 0.25.
No, like 0.8. We'll go 0.8 because we're good at math.
I could, outside of like Zeke, and we've already said we think Jordan Howard's going to be good coming out of the gate. And a big splash next year if he lands in the right spot. If he's getting the work, I could see Booker being a good pro running back early on, a la Andre Ellington, another guy who was old as balls coming out.
Yeah, I see. I like that call. Booker could be a great guy for redraft or your MFL 10s because he's ready to go, just straight out of the gate. He's a good pass blocker. He's going to stay on the field. It's just the age, plus he just doesn't do it enough for me to overcome the age. Think of it this way. If he goes to a situation that he'll still get to play, but it's a mixed backfield, and you're thinking, I just can't wait for him to hit free agency. When he finishes out his rookie contract, he's already going to be 28. He's already going to be past the age curve. So that's how old a 24-year-old running back is when he's a rookie. I think I've still got him probably with a late second, early third, but I'll never get him there. It's not realistic. So I really don't think I've got anything else to say about it.
Yeah, good player, too old, period.
So we chose to do this next player not by choice, but because we really couldn't say we were doing our due diligence if we didn't. So, Tyler, I will hand the reins off to you for this one.
Sterling Shepard from the University of Oklahoma. Sterling Shepard measures in at a robust 5'4", 120 pounds. I'm just kidding. He's bigger than that. Sterling Shepard is silky smooth, man. He is smooth as he could possibly be. He is quick. He's going to have a little bit of trouble getting off the line. He had a lot of free releases, especially last year in the 2015 tape. The corner's giving him 3-4 yards. And probably because they know he's going to eat his cushion up. He's quick off the line, nice releases, doesn't drop anything, adjusts to the ball in play. He's big. He's not big, and he's skinny, and I think he's just going to get jammed up and redirected. I don't know. It's hard for me with the University of Oklahoma. I cannot give you an unbiased take here. I just can't. It's for me, it's similar to kind of how I viewed Tyler Lockett last year. I was like, oh, he's a munchkin slot receiver. I don't want anything to do with him. And turns out Tyler Lockett's a pretty dang good football player. A lot of people like Sterling Shepard. Matt Harmon's reception perception loved him. That's not Matt Harmon loving him. That's Matt Harmon's work loving him. What he was able to do versus press, versus zone, versus man, versus double coverage. He was successful in all facets. But I think he's going to get overdrafted in rookie drafts. I think he's going to land on average in the 106, 107, 108 range. I'm taking Carew, I'm taking Fuller, I'm taking Michael Thomas, I'm taking Derrick Henry, any number of guys over him. I'm not sure how he's going to translate. I think he's going to get bodied up at the next level, especially a corner with good feet, that can get the hands on him and not get lost real quick on his release. I think he's gonna have trouble with those kind of guys. What's he going to be in the pros? It's tough to say, man. It's really tough to say, but I think the versatility of his game is just going to show more and more because he's 5'10", 5'11", sub 200 pounds. He's not thick. He doesn't have any of that stuff going on for him. So solid player, nice player. For me, overrated by a good bit.
All right. Before I move into my feelings about Shepard, I think I finally figured out a way to really put to terms how Tyler feels about Oklahoma. Tyler feels about Oklahoma the same way that most service members feel about ISIS. I feel like that's fairly accurate. But in terms of Shepard, my dislikes about him have nothing to do with his size or his height, weight, whatever, because it's dumb. And I don't like it because, one of my favorite wide receivers is sub 6 foot. He's not very tall. I don't care. My issues, let me start with what I like about Shepard. He's, in terms of short comeback route, stuff like that, very sharp. Just very quick burst of movement. He's an excellent pass blocker. And like Tyler said, he fights for the contested catches. He stretches out when they're out there. He's got good body control. And all of these things are excellent things to want in a wide receiver. One of the biggest things for me is hands, and he's got just excellent hands. But I think the biggest turnoff for me is the reason Shepard wins at the college level is athleticism. His athleticism is not going to be just heads and tails above his competition in the NFL. If you watch him closely, the technique, the precision movements are not there. He's very unrefined is the best way to put it. He's using his athleticism just plain and simple to win. He doesn't know how to use his hands to get anyone off him, even these college corners that are, the size, strength for him to be able to. He's just hoping that he can outrun them. And it doesn't spell out success for me in the NFL for him. So he's kind of just off my board as well.
He's twitchy. He's twitchy, he's smooth. He reminds me a little bit like when you watch him, he's kind of gliding at times, almost like Tyler Boyd, but not with – it's tough for me to put a finger on it. It really is. I go in so freaking biased, man. I'm sorry. I wish I could give a fair take here. I really do. I don't know. I wish I could be unbiased here. I really do. This is terrible. I am doing it. I'm just butchering this. Butchering it.
I'm going to
edit
give you
all
credit.
This crap out.
You're doing way better than I expected you to do. I will give you all the credit in the world.
It's just bad.
What I expected, I'm giving you an 8 out of 10 for how you're actually doing.
An 8 out of 10, but the people listening to us are going to be like, what is this idiot talking about? But if they've never listened before, they kind of know that's my shtick.
Right.
Being an idiot. But hey, I'm gonna accept a trade on air right now.
What you got?
I got a trade offer of a 17 first from a team that is okay. It's a good team for my Devin Funchess and Clive Walford.
Why?
I'm taking it.
Yeah, I would too. I like
Walford as much. I like Walford, but I like 17 first, and this is a good team. It's a good team that I'm taking the 17 first from. But
I don't care.
I'm just throwing that in there. It's done.
People keep making all these qualifiers for 17 first and trying to make them sound not as good. I really don't think people understand just how good the 17 class can be. There are 4 or 5 running backs that will almost immediately be running back ones. There are 4 or 5 receivers that will be immediate wide receiver twos. You know, you got Juju, Dupree, Davis, uh, Clemson dude,
Williams.
Williams. Thank you.
Cortland Sutton, who we don't know enough about, and we probably passed him up in a Devy draft that we just did where we shouldn't have. A lot of guys, especially Nick Whalen, especially, who is I don't think anybody watches more tape than Nick Whalen on the Devy guys. So, and this class is sexy. And then we haven't even gotten to like Wayne Gallman, Christian McCaffrey, Deshaun Watson. I mean, this is a good class. And then the tight ends are bonkers too.
The cat from Alabama,
OJ Howard and Evan Ingram and Bucky Hodges, and it just I can go like 18 deep right now on the 17 class. It's that good. So I totally derailed us there, but I got that email. Normally I don't check my phone, but during the show, but
hard not to.
And man, that kind of sucks. I mean, I like to process it a little bit more, but my gut reaction said do it. I got to think it's time to do it. My team sucks.
Funchess is what, a late first this year. Clive is a second.
Maybe.
Even as a tight end. I mean, I love Clive Walford. He's a top 10 tight end for me right now. But he's worth a second. For me, if you're not Kronk or Eifert, you're not worth a first. And
or Zach Ertz.
If I won't give a first for Jordan Reed, I'm not giving a first for Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into an interesting segment we get to talk about today. One of our leagues, which is called Dynasty as Hell. You may have heard us talk about it last year. We decided, and by decided, I mean a few choice people decided for all of us that we were going to start our rookie draft today. And we are already into the 4th round. It's been very interesting, and I'm going to let Tyler give us the initial breakdown because he was one of the proprietors of this riot.
Well, so far, I mean, we're pretty chalky to start, right? I mean, I don't see any surprises in anybody getting out of line. I had the 101 with my terrible team. I took Zeke. I think that's just the biggest no-brainer of all time. 2, we got Treadwell coming off the board. We went Treadwell, Doxson, Coleman are your first 4. That's my first 4. As much as I want to bang on Corey Coleman going 4th overall, there's nothing wrong with that. Then we get a little bit of a mix-up here. Carew goes 105, Tyler Boyd 106, Will Fuller 107, Michael Thomas 108. I thought Michael Thomas was just a complete steal. I would have been taking him over Carew, Boyd, and Fuller. So that went pretty well. Second RB off the board, Derrick Henry at 109. That could be a huge boom, getting Derrick Henry at 109 after a huge wide receiver run. So I thought that was a really, really solid pick. Sterling Shepard, who we just talked about at 110, not bad. Pharaoh Cooper, a little bit of surprise at 111. I thought Kenneth Dixon was going to be the pick there at 111. He wasn't. And then Kenneth Dixon goes 12th, so that rounds out the first round.
No.
Well, we got the 113, the free pick. Dylan surprised me here. Our buddy Dylan, DT Lurch, who's, I don't know, man. Dylan's like next level fantasy football player. He's really good. Won the toilet bowl, so he had the extra pick. He took Malcolm Mitchell, and I was sitting at 201, and I sent him some like little bullshit, shitty offers to try to move up 1 pick to get my guy who was CJ Prosise, who I ended up getting after all. So when he took Malcolm Mitchell, I was really surprised that he took Mitchell there. I don't hate the pick. I like the pick, but I didn't see it coming.
I'm not even going to say I like the pick. I like Mitchell, but at the end of the first, that's just it. You know, I do like the pick because it speaks perfectly to what we preach. Go get your guy. Overspend now if you have to go get your guy. You know, like you said, Henry at 109 can be a huge, huge return on investment immediately. You know, the rest of them fairly chalk picks. Kudos to Tim for keeping the Boyd love alive. That's my man. I know Coleman went early. We don't like Coleman,
I would have taken him there.
I wouldn't have.
There are enough really smart people that like Coleman for me to say, okay, I got to throw my he's lazy and doesn't run any routes thing out the window. And I know he don't like to do it, but his metric profile is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers.
There were a bunch of talent scouts and everything that liked Marquise Lee, too. Just saying.
I still, the one thing that stood out for me was Michael Thomas at 108. I thought that was the biggest slam dunk ever.
It's about where I would have put him because I've got Fuller over Thomas. But if Fuller had been gone, if it had been between Thomas and Coleman for me, it would have been Thomas chalk pick for me.
I can see that.
Into the second round, like Tyler said, he went pro size number 1. After that, 202. Dylan, who smart guy, took my Mike Thomas at 202. So raise the roof a little bit. After that, Scott went Braxton Miller, and I can totally get behind this. Like, Braxton Miller is the ultimate coin flip guy because he's either going to come in and he's just going to burn people up, or he's going to be he's going to be getting position switched within 2 years, or just going to go find a new job somewhere. After that, I really considered trading up to this pick to go get my guy, but I ended up not needing to because our buddy Danny Tage, who joined this league this year, went and took Devontae Booker and let Jordan Howard fall all the way to me at 205. This is my number 3 overall running back, pushing for number 2, and I got him at 205. So Tyler was knocking down my door, beating down my door, like, "Hey man, trade me the pick. Come on, I want the pick." I'm like, you're not getting the pick.
With Howard sliding like that pick ultimately became crazy valuable between Drew and I, our own little twisted marketplace that we have with each other.
Oh yeah, that 205 was
Drew knew what he wasn't going to be able to extract what he needed out of me. I wasn't going to pay it. And when I take pro size, I'm thinking, man, that's tough for me because in my own personal rankings, I have Howard higher. But I went with what I thought was the safer pick, especially drafting pre-draft. It's a little scary. You can get caught with your pants down drafting before the NFL draft. You don't want to have guys you're drafting that end up just falling in the NFL draft. And I don't think pro size is going to fall. I think he's going to go earlier than Jordan Howard in the NFL draft.
I agree.
Ultimately is what made my decision for me. And pro size is a good pass catcher. But I sure would have liked to have gotten Jordan Howard.
I totally understand. And in this position, especially after getting burned on Jalen Strong like you did last year, I can see taking pro size. And if I'm on a team that's kind of ready to compete, but I need a backup running back for my start one running back league, I would take pro size over Jordan Howard just because him being a guaranteed pass catcher, that's guaranteed points. But my roster on this team, we did an auction startup last year, and people went just nuts overpaying for wide receiver. And I thought I was going to be smart and zig when everybody zagged and go spend a bunch of money on running back, which was a terrible idea. Don't do it. So I've got 100 running backs. So to me, pro size with his guaranteed points doesn't do much for me. It doesn't improve my roster. Whereas Jordan Howard, if he turns into the RB 3 or 4, that's a huge boom to our roster. And that's kind of how I would look at it in this league. And I think that's how it's going to get divided for me, picking between those two in my leagues this year. After that went, Paul Perkins, who I was trying to trade because I had the 205 and the 207. I was trying to get it to have 5, 6, and 7 so I could get Perkins. And then I took Tajay Sharp because, God, I need a wide receiver. I need a wide receiver so bad in that league. I think I got Allen, Kevin White, and maybe Deshaun Jackson after that. It's bad.
How many times do I have to offer you Marvin Jones? How many times do I have to say, hey, give me that 204 Jordan Howard for Marvin Jones? I don't know what else I have to do.
I would not give you one of my third-round picks the players I took in the third round for Marvin Jones. So stuck on that.
I know. Oh man, Marvin Jones. We were cleaning up the auction last year, and I somehow had the most money, and he was the only player left on board. These rosters are massive. There's like 400 players rostered in this league, offense only. So yeah.
But yeah, after Sharp went Rashard Higgins, who, I mean, he had a shitty pro day, or not a shitty pro day, a shitty combine. But, you know, a lot of people still like this tape. A late second, that's enough to gamble where I don't feel bad about it. Sharon Peak, who, honestly, I haven't watched enough to have a solid opinion on. That's one of those ones I still need to watch. After that, it's that Keith Marshall.
I love the Keith Marshall pick, 23rd overall.
Mm-hmm.
That's a perfect pick there. Perfect pick. I mean, shoot the freaking moon. That's what you're doing there. I love that pick. I like the Peak pick as well.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where if you miss, it's a late second. Oh, well. But if you hit, those guys are good enough to where if they're hitting for massive value. Mm-hmm. After that comes Alex Collins. I love Alex Collins. Not much else to say about that. The next one is Karis.
I don't know how you say his name.
Kavaris Garrett, who, if Tim's taking him, he's probably pretty good. Is another one of those ones that I'm just not in the loop on yet. And we finished out so much that we've done is Peyton Barber, who, not bad. He just doesn't excite me. It's in the third round, you're not going to get a player that's more likely to make a roster than him.
Yeah, I traded out of that pick. I had the 301. I traded back, got the 312 and a 17 third. I was like, okay, I was going to take Goff or Jonathan Williams there, and I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. Give me a little. Let me re-roll the dice on the 17 third and pick up a little bit of juice on the back end anyway.
Yeah, so our 302 pick comes up, and Dylan is just bitching to us in this Fox group. Like, you guys are really going to make me do this, aren't you? You guys are dragging it out of me, aren't you? And he goes and takes Jared Goff because he's probably going to be the number one overall pick. You have to draft him eventually. But
I mean, why not? You know,
none of us wanted to do it.
Well, that's what I mean, at this point, you're choosing Jared Goff or a guy who may not even get drafted or make it through camp. You know, I mean, yeah, there are a few good players there. I mean, there's still several guys on the board I like there, but Goff makes a hell of a lot of sense right there. What, 25th, 26th overall?
Yep. So after that comes Scott. Scott is the mother of all snipers on this pick. Comes out with Jonathan Williams just right before my pick, and I'm pretty sure 8 out of the 12 people in our Vox group went, shit! It was perfect.
Yeah, good pick. I had some delusion he could fall to me at 312, honestly. It was a delusion, but I thought it could happen. It didn't.
Yeah, I ended up picking up Kenyon Drake with my 304, and Kenyon Drake's the second round running back to me, so I really debated between Hunter Henry and Kenyon Drake because I've got some thirst for a tight end on my roster. I got Jimmy Graham, Max Williams, and then Ben Watson. So I could be looking at no fantasy output from the position this year. Or, I mean, I could legit have a starter. I have no idea. And plus, I like Hunter Henry.
And now we can't do the Walford for Jordan Howard combo deal like we were talking about before we went on air because I have traded him since. That was in this league that I made that trade.
You are such a slut.
Hey, man, that shit could have gotten revoked on me. You got to strike while the iron's hot.
I'm going to go in and turn on my commish powers and veto that trade.
Put a poll up. Put a veto on it.
No, we don't do veto polls. I am the all-powerful commissioner. I don't like something. I'm just going to go change it.
I was actually getting excited. We were going to make a deal. We were going to make it happen there. I was going to have to give more than just Walford, obviously, but we could have done it.
And then I took Kenyon Drake. I just went with best player available. I've got the higher pick grade on Drake. And Danny Tage. I have 3 more picks after this. with Danny Tage in the middle, and he takes Hunter Henry from right in front of me and just breaks my heart. So I decide I go in. I have to go make custom characters, custom players, Marquez North, Byron Marshall, and then I grab Peyton from Cal in my 3 in a row. And I have no idea what happened after that. I stopped paying attention because I was...
Now we're waiting on Vicar.
All right. So, I mean, you have any other comments for that? How the third round played out?
No, I mean, the third round's the third round. I thought, it's whatever. Like I said, I liked the Goff pick. I liked your Peyton pick. He's a guy that I liked when we were watching Perkins tape.
Yeah.
He just kind of stood out to me like, this guy's fucking big, and he's physical. And that was one of the guys that I had kind of earmarked for the 312. And he wasn't in the database. I was like, yeah, that could work out pretty well. But it didn't.
Jalen?
So I thought that was a nice pick.
Jalen or not Jalen? I was reading something else. Peyton was in the system. I didn't have to.
Was he?
Yeah, I didn't have to manually enter him.
Whatever. Anyway, yeah. So God knows what's going to be there when I pick again at 312. I had back-to-back at 312 and 401. And
so I'm pretty sure I have the 511 this year again. And I'm hoping I'm hoping I have the same luck. Last year pre-draft at 511, I took Matt Jones. And I think my draft comment said something to the effect of, fuck it, why not? He's the only name left I know. And I wasn't happy about it. I was expecting to be a cut, and then ta-da. So I'm hoping I get that guy again at my 511. It's a lucky pick for me. I'm going to start trading for it every year.
There you go.
But before we burn up any more time on this, let's just hit up our submitted questions. And speak of the devil, our first one comes from at Danny Tage. He says, Drew, can you give us updated feelings on Tyler Boyd? What spot are you drafting him at? And I am drafting him at 102 and a half. Because I can't decide between him and Doxson. And Tyler's shaking his head, and I don't care. Because his opinion sucks. It really does. I like Boyd. I became very concerned immediately after the combine because I hear things like, he's in the 13th percentile for athleticism. But I go and I look at each of his individual drills, and I look at players that have been drafted highly that have done poorly on X drill. And actually, a lot of them that do poor on one drill do poor on the other ones. And if you divide it into guys who have been drafted higher, like Boyd will be, there are some pretty good players in there, and it makes me feel better about it because his production sure is good. His tape's still good. So the concern's not really there for me. I still like him as much as I did. He's the dude.
I like it. I like that you're staying all in on him. I respect it. All right. So we got another question from at Eddie24. How do you value Jalen Smith? Also, thoughts on Keenan Robinson as a New York Giant. We touched on Jalen quite a bit our show a couple nights ago. What do I think about him? I think he is fantastic. I think he is a hell of a football player. But we just don't know. Evidently, the medical rechecks did not go well for him or Miles Jack.
I saw that.
The Miles Jack stuff is scary, especially for a guy who has accumulated a fucking shitload of late first, early seconds, mid seconds this year. This shit is scary for me because those are two guys last year when I'm acquiring these picks. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get both of them. I may still.
The scariest part is the only information we're going to have before the rest of our rookie drafts are the draft, which is the only thing that can tell us how they feel about their injuries. But even then, they took Todd Gurley as a top 10 pick. So some of them are willing to overlook it just for the sake of the potential.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
And we don't know, but, I mean, either of these guys go whatever. What do we think they're going to go? I think Jack's still probably going to be a top 10 pick unless this is all just, unless this is all a bunch of bullshit. Jalen, who knows? If they go high in the NFL draft, they go high for me. What do I think of Keenan Robinson as a New York Giant? Man, Keenan's kind of run the gauntlet for me, right? A couple years ago, we were getting him so cheap, and he was gangbusters in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2015, he was not good. He was bad. He looked like he put on a ton of weight to me. I've been watching Keenan Robinson since he was a freshman in college, and his game was always move, run, move. And he looked like he was 250 pounds last year. So I have high hopes that he's going to rebound, into a top 20-ish Dino linebacker. He's still on a lot of my rosters. He's going to be my starting lineup week 1, as long as the Giants' depth chart doesn't move around too much. So I think it's almost an inevitability that we see a big rebound from him this year, assuming that he has that job in the middle. And unless they add someone, he does. It's his. So we're just going to have to see how he does, man. And I'm going to hope that he drops about 10 or 15 pounds over the summer, because I think it's going to make a big difference.
That'd be real nice. And I don't think there's really a better situation he could have gone to after moving out of Washington, because there's just a complete dearth of talent on the defensive side, especially in their linebacker core. Like they needed Keenan Robinson. And the fact that there's so little talent is kind of scary, because it means they could be drafting more linebackers. But if they don't spend early on him, he could jump right back to where he was for me in my rankings. And we were high on Keenan Robinson. I think between you and I, we probably averaged out to like linebacker 12 on him.
Yeah, I had him at exactly linebacker 12 a year ago. And it wasn't crazy. It wasn't. And we don't want to put up too much stock into PFF grades, okay? But
I don't put any into PFF grades.
Well, I put some into it. Those guys are watching the tape. He graded out like shit this year, like really, really, really bad. There's something there. And when you watched him, he wasn't good, man. He wasn't good. He didn't have the lateral movement. He was shit in coverage. He just wasn't good. So, I mean, for me, it's pulling at my heartstrings a little bit because he's a Longhorn. But, I've got hopes that he just comes right back and starts kicking ass. And I think it's more probable than anything.
I agree. And with that, we'll hit up our next question now. It comes from @BigPerm3313. I'm considering overpaying for Sammy Watkins. I have a young and pretty deep team. The offer is Yeldon, Funchess, Conley, Smelter, the 104 and the 109. His lineup, if he picks up Sammy, is the hotness. And I'm absolutely doing that deal. Sammy is fantastic. Sammy's a first-round startup pick. Yeldon is worth a mid-first. The 104 is actually a mid-first. The 109 it's late. It's guys that aren't going to be that great this year. Funchess, Conley, and Smelter. Funchess is an early second, and Conley and Smelter are both still kind of dart throw guys, late second-round picks. And I'm willing to give 3 firsts and 3 seconds for Sammy on a team that doesn't need the depth that bad. This is one of those team-dependent ones, but I think this is one of those that will work out nicely for both owners.
Yeah, I hate paying up like this in his situation. I wished I had posted his actual roster. It was like OBJ and Nuke, and it's insane. So for his team, yeah, I'm making the deal. In general, I'm probably not pulling the trigger on a deal like this unless my team is good, and his team is. So in this situation, I think, yeah, I'm probably making this deal. I could see me not, but I'm going to go ahead and put the stamp of approval on this one. I'm going to say pay up and go get him. And you're not paying up for, 29-year-old or 28-year-old Demaryius Thomas. You're paying up for 23-year-old Sammy Watkins. So that's another good thing.
And Sammy's not done gaining value. I think people have this conception in their head that he's a late first-round startup pick, and that's just where Sammy will stay. Sammy has there is a breakout season coming for Sammy Watkins. The time of him being talked about in the same sentence as OBJ and Evans, like they were in the 2014 rookie class, is going to happen again. Watkins is an unbelievable talent, and it's inevitable to me. But the second part of this question is, in a total rebuild, in need of roster spots for rookie draft, what's the cheapest you would sell Foster for? I would sell Foster to move from the 410 to the 407. Anything you can get. I would package him to move up in the draft with one of your picks. Start with your seconds. You're probably not going to get any bites there, but give it a shot. Move to your thirds. You'll probably get something there, even just to move up a pick or two. But that's, to me, is the best way to move Foster, because otherwise you're going to have to cut him.
Yeah, in a total rebuild, take anything you can get. Anything. Yeah, no, that's just, anything. Because he may not ever even play another snap again. So, anyway, next question from our buddy, part of the Couch Coach crew, part of the East-West crew, part of the most awesome Voxer hangout group of all time, our good buddy at FF Thor Mikey. What are your guys' thoughts on the rebuilding process? I'm currently burning one team to the ground. IDP 2QB. Thoughts on the rebuilding process? Man, you want ammo. Get as much ammo as you can. Take, even if you, like, say you have a superstar, Julio Jones, somebody like that, they got to go. If you got Jeremy Maclin's, if you've got Deshaun Jackson's, they got to go. You know, you just want to, I mean, literally, like you said, burn it to the ground. And you want to take as many shots as you possibly can. You want as many first round, second rounds, third round, fourth rounds, doesn't matter. You want as many Chris Conley types as you can get. You want multiple shots so that if these guys bring value, you either A, rise back up to the top of the league quickly, or if only a few of these guys hit value, you burn and turn, and you just keep reloading, and you try to get you try to get pieces of the next draft class. You try to get 2018 first. Just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Anyone with marginal value, get them gone. You know, you got to pay attention to the age there. I mean, I hate the word ageist, but you want to be an ageist. If they're 28 years old, they don't belong on your roster because they're not going to do you any good by the time you're ready to compete. Because a true rebuild, you're at least 2 full seasons out. I mean, you're a while out unless everything goes perfectly for you. You know, and a real big thing is, like I said, get to seconds and thirds. Don't just dismiss those picks. You know, don't just go, oh, it's just a third rounder. Get a shitload of them. Get 7 third rounders. They're not hard to get. You're making a deal with somebody, they're like, throw in a third. Let's get this deal done. They'll throw in a third more often than not. So just as much ammo as you can.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, when I'm in a rebuild, I think the mind frame I take with it is I'm not looking at players anymore. I'm not looking at names anymore. I am looking at essentially a form of stock. Whereas if I look at this particular stock and I know its value has nowhere to go but down, that's an immediate sell. It has to go. If I'm looking at one that its value is probably going to sustain itself for a year or two and then fall, that has to go. Because you don't want to hold on to declining assets when you're already in a depression. You want to get a hold of as many guys that can gain value as possible, even if it's small value chunks, because then you can take a guy that was worth a third and now he's worth an early second, move him, go get, reinvest it in something else, package it, go get something that's a surer asset. And like Tyler said, draft picks. Go after the guys that had weak rookie seasons that are, look likely to rebound, because that's a great way to pick up value. In terms of IDP, I don't care if you drop all your IDP players and grab the bare necessities to start a roster and then just hoard as many offensive players as you can. It depends a little bit on the type of league. Like in the IDP leagues we're in, we can't afford to do that because IDP players don't IDP players don't grow on trees in our leagues. But in most leagues, you can build a solid IDP roster off the waiver wire. In terms of the 2 QB, you want to take more shots at QB. Any shot you can. Like last year, Bryce Petty would have absolutely been a shot I was taking in any rebuild I had because he had the potential to start for them. And if he did, that's value. Kirk Cousins, when he was behind RG3, stash him everywhere. Even like Blaine Gabbert was a guy I was holding on into some of my 2 QB leagues. It's terrible, but I did it in 806. I had Blaine Gabbert going into the season.
But I mean, and in a rebuild deal, I mean, let's say we get to week 10 and Team X is 5-5 and fighting for a playoff spot, and one of their QBs got injured or one of their QBs is on bye. You could pull something nice in trade for Blaine Gabbert just because somebody's got to fill a bye. Or, I mean, those 2 QBs in 2 QB leagues, those QBs will skyrocket in value in certain situations during the season. So, yeah, and I mean, like, say you're sitting with and the age doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, doesn't matter. If you can take a slight downgrade at quarterback and pick up some, or not even a slight downgrade, take a downgrade at quarterback and pick up some extra value on the back end, those are moves I'm making. And the draft picks don't necessarily have to be draft picks. That's capital. You can trade those draft picks. You can trade them for good players. I made a trade. I think he's talking about East West, the league we're in. My team was terrible last year, but I think it's a good team. I think this team's going to compete next year. I sold him Dante Moncrief for Levante David in the 205. That's not a move that I'm ever making very often, but this is a weird league with no flexes, this, that, and the other, and Levante David's a 300-point-a-year scorer. So that's a beautiful move for Thor. He goes and dishes off a mid-second, which is not that bad because he already owns the entire second round. And, dishes off Levante David, who's an IDP, not doing him much good, and picks up Dante Moncrief, who will either be a staple for his team for several years because I think he's fixing to come on hot and heavy, or he trades him off for a haul, both of which are good outcomes. So, that's the time. I love that move for him.
Yeah, Moncrief is the exact guy I had in mind thinking about this because people are valuing him at like 106 to 108 when by week 6 he could be worth the 102, 101.
I turned down 103 straight up for Dante Moncrief in a league where I have a highly competitive team.
I would too.
I turned it down.
It would take the 101 right now for me to move Moncrief.
Yeah, there's this gap between 101 and 102. It's like, well, he's not worth the 101, but the 102 isn't enough. It's a weird year for that.
I'd rather have him than Doxson or Boyd.
I think I probably would too.
Or any Ole Miss wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Just dig it a little bit.
It's fun. I like saying that.
It's kind of our thing.
But our next one comes from @RollingGAKG. Fuck, marry, kill. Trolley gummy worms, Sour Patch Kids, and Starburst. And I think it's pretty easy. I'm marrying Sour Patch Kids. They're coming home with me and they're going to sleep in bed with me. I'm fucking Starburst. I got to get in on that. And Trolley gummy worms, I will shoot them to death and bury them in the backyard. Gummy worms just don't do it for me.
Not even the sour ones?
The sour ones do, but not even close to the same level as the good Starburst or Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, I think there are 3 totally different tiers here. I'm with you. We're in lockstep. Next question from our good buddy Andrew Miley from DynastyBlitz.com. Dudes, if you're not going to DynastyBlitz.com this time of year, you're doing it all wrong. Andy is breaking down every prospect. He's putting out 4, 5, 6 articles a week. He is one of my go-to guys for rookies. Really, I mean, he does it all really well. But for rookies, he does the defensive players. His rankings are spot on. Just a great website and a really cool guy. I play in several leagues with Andy. His question is, how do you handle idiotic trade offers? Oh man. Something happened when April 1st came around this year. It's like there's nothing going on. Then all of a sudden, my leagues just turned into this hive of activity. And the shitty trade offers were coming, baby. All right. So here's what I do. I will always, always, always decline the first offer with some kind of a note. Like, hey, man, this isn't close for me. We're not there. I'm going to be polite. This isn't close for me. We're not there. I don't like this deal. I appreciate the offer, but we're good. I reject. I don't counter. I just move on. Second offer, I'll get a little bit more stern. Kind of like, hey, man, this isn't right. Knock it off. Third offer, I move to reject without comment. And then I just kind of, at some point you just kind of almost have to get rude. I don't want to say rude, but you just got to be straight up, with them and just be like, it's just not cool. What, I don't know what you're doing, what calculator you're using, what kind of shit you're pulling out of your ass on this, but it's just not cool. But to come out and just, bust balls immediately, that's not my style. I don't think it gets you anywhere because eventually you're going to have a trade partner out of this guy. The fact that they're sending offers is pretty cool, right? I mean, especially when half the league's sleeping. So, I always try to get some type of conversation started with them. But at some point, the reject without comment tends to have, especially after you've commented on several rejects, the reject without comment tends to carry a little bit of weight. So, or just counter back, whop them over the head. You know what I mean? Send them the biggest, nastiest counter of all time and see what they do.
See, you and I are fairly close there. The first reject, I will, I'll give I don't view this player as worth very much. I'm not going to move this player, stuff like that. And then it depends on how he responds. If their response is a slight tweak to the already terrible trade, like they were offering me a late fourth and now they're offering me a late third in addition to the other trash they were sending, the response is going to be reject without comment immediately. If they come back and they made an effort, I'll respect that, and I will comment again, kind of further clarifying where I'm at, why there's such a gap between where we're at. If this continues, reject without comment. And normally it's the fourth one. On the fourth shitty trade offer, and I have one particular league mate in one league that just comes to mind when I think about this, because he does that shit where he will just tweak it so little. He's sending me offers for OBJ and DeAndre Hopkins and sending me like a first and a horde of bullshit. So a couple of seconds, all his third next year. And like, I'm sending, I think my third reply back to him said, I would not do this trade for one of these guys. This is not even close. And he sent it again. I think he changed one of the thirds to a second. I'm like, Jesus. And I just replied to him, like, I don't know if you just don't understand how Dynasty works or you think you're going to get one over on me, but this isn't even remotely close, and I haven't heard back from him in a couple of weeks.
I mean, if it's I sent one back the other day. I guess it was kind of snarky of me. I forget what it was, but I said, there is no combination of players or picks on your roster that will make this work.
I've said that to him too. That's my favorite one.
You could trade me your entire roster for Mike Evans, and I would decline. So, whatever. Now, if there is a caveat here. If this is a league with your buddies or guys get creative, man. Throw a YouTube link in there. The hell to the no guy. I could be pretty cool with my trade rejects with my buddies. Then you can just be downright rude and say exactly what you're thinking, because that's just kind of fun. But you got to make sure they're not going to get all up in their feelings about it. So, but if it's your buddies or your friends or the people, yeah, fuck around with them. But if it's just complete stranger X or guy who just picked up orphan, which it's almost always guy who just picked up orphan, you never know, that might be their very first dynasty team. I remember when I picked up my very, very first dynasty team, man, I would construct these trade offers that were just awful. I look back at it in hindsight and I'm thinking, God almighty. They must have thought I was a blubbering idiot because I was a blubbering idiot. But those few guys that were constructive with their feedback helped me, and eventually became trade partners down the line. So, it kind of goes both ways, but the initial reaction is to get all pissed off, but I try not to. But you knock on my door enough time and you ain't bringing a pizza, I'm going to tell you, get the fuck off my porch.
I think that's another good point on it is, like, I react so quickly with this guy because I've dealt with him in the past. If it's a guy I'm dealing with for the first time, I'm going to be more patient because I don't know if just the way we value is just way entirely different. And if it is, that's fine. I mean, that we'll figure it out. And if we get to the third offer and it's not going to happen, I'm just like, look, we're not going to be able to reconcile this. Maybe we'll have to just try and trade another time. I'm going to call this one. I'm going to call it a day on this one. But in terms of, like trading with your buddies, especially like with the guys like in the East vs. West group or the Dynasty is Hell group, we just shame each other publicly, which is the best.
It really is.
Especially with certain people, because they are habitual, terrible trade senders. And it's become almost a meme within the group that, oh, Pat's sending another trade offer. Look at how horrible it is. I'm not pointing fingers, though.
I'm only saying exactly one person's name.
He's not the only one,
though.
But that's a fun one. But we're gonna hit up this next one. It comes from the Squirrel, who most of y'all would know him from at Breeze IDP. He's been on the show quite a few times. First, he wants us to apologize for calling Zach Brown meh in the last show, which not gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that
because he's Mac Brown
or Zach Brown, either way.
Yeah, I mean he's kind of got the meh built in. And two, what meh running back is going to luck out in this draft, aka Matt Jones, Latavius, Langford, etc.? Who would you say has the best bet to not have value implode then sell for a haul? Oh, I think those are two separate questions. Okay, I'm dumb. I'm going to say all that part over again, and I'm going to edit that out. All of you on YouTube get to watch just this terrible clusterfuck of me just farting out of my mouth.
Why would you watch us on YouTube? I don't understand.
Because
people do that.
Some of them like watching the uncut version.
Y'all are sick people.
I don't think you understand. Like, in terms of dead air that we cut out alone, you get to save like 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes of your life you can have back. But no.
It's our super sexy indoor hats.
Dude, it's all about that indoor hat life. But all right, Squirrel's got a second question. What meh running back is going to luck out in the draft, aka Matt Jones, Latavius, Langford, etc.? I'm going to be straight up. I don't think Matt Jones or Latavius are really meh. I think they're meh now, but Latavius as a prospect, those metrics were unreal. The tape was hot. The fact that he went in the fourth round, we kept seeing him get stuck behind Darren McFadden's back when he didn't used to play football very often, and just pray he'd get some snaps. And then he came out and just like 3 yards a carry. And Matt Jones was never going to be, this breakout running back one, but he's more than capable of doing what's the best way to put it?
Stuff and things.
He does PPR stuff. He's going to be startable every week for you, but he's not going to win seasons for you. Whereas Langford's not good. Just he's not. He's usable in a committee for football. For fantasy, he has no use. He is bad.
Yeah, Langford's got to go. You got to get Langford off your roster before the NFL draft gets here.
You need to get Langford off your roster yesterday.
Yeah, he needs to be gone. Latavius. Latavius is weird for me. I don't even know anything about what I'd do for him with. I'm not trading for him, but I'm not really trading him away either.
I'm so glad I don't own any shares of him because I don't know what to do with him right now.
I look at him. I have two.
I look at him and think, I had so much hope for him, and the situation is wide open. If it stays wide open after the draft, he should be, an RB1 candidate. But you look at what he did last year, and it's just so discouraging.
And he had a ton of touches,
like 300 something.
Like all you need, touches wise, and it's just bad. But I'm not condemning him by any stretch.
He got the carry numbers that league-winning running backs normally get in a season, and he was barely startable. That's pretty damning. He's got a third question thing. Who would you say has the best bet to not have value implode, then sell for a haul? And I don't know if he's talking about just Jones, Latavius Langford, or running backs in general. In terms for not having value implode, I'd say Matt Jones is the best bet out of the three of them. Trying to think who all is kind of on that cusp of it's going to go bad. It's going to go bad quick. I think, Hill already lost a ton of value
by being not good. Ajayi? I don't know, man.
It's because it's a fine line between meh and
Rawls.
Yeah, actually, I like that. And Pat is going to love that, but Pat, you also have to remember that this is said with the caveat of they're meh running backs.
This is true.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the non-meh running backs, that list is 7 deep. So, I mean, it's kind of throwing an umbrella over the position in general. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Moving on from another one of our good buddies at RL. How do you say his name? Kenya?
I just call him Dickface.
Oh, Ryan, our buddy from the Couch Coach crew.
He's a terrible person.
Y'all are mortal enemies.
We are. If I saw him in the street, I would fight him. I would not say nice things to him, even if there was a fire.
Even if there's a fire. I love it. All right. His question. He says, Carlos Hyde is a buy right now, in my opinion, in his opinion. I agree. What's the fair price that you would both sell and buy for? Selling, he would be my RB2 in this class. Right? I mean, yeah, he's 2 years older or whatever. Valuing him versus Derrick Henry, Kenneth Dixon, Jordan Howard, blah, 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 blah. Pretty easy RB2. We were just gushing over Derrick Henry at 1.9, so, I got to think I'm taking him. I might even 105, something like that. I'd pay that pretty easy for him, I think, right now, but I'd rather wait till after the NFL draft. I don't care if his value spikes or not.
I think 105, 106 is right. It's going to depend. It can be as high as 104. It depends on how Carew and Fuller play out for me in the draft. But he's an absolute buy. You would have to give me better than the 105 for me to move him.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm trading him straight up for any real pick. I'm going to want the 103 and a little juice. Yeah. You know what I mean? Something like that.
And in terms of buying him, I'll pay up to the 106.
Yeah. Still much rather wait till after the NFL draft. Because, I mean, yeah, his value could go up after the NFL draft if they don't add a running back, but it's not going to go crazy. It's not going to be to where people aren't going to sell him to you because he didn't play much last year. But that Monday night under the lights, buddy. Oh, my God, he was good.
We still have a recorded audio snippet of me from that night, and it's I think it's 9 seconds long, and it says, I didn't know an erection could rip denim, but now I know. That was That is my favorite non-Saints football memory from the last probably year or two.
Oh, he was good.
It was so
He
good.
showed it all.
And we were freaking out like that first quarter when Reggie Bush was stealing touches. And, I mean, bless his heart, Reggie Bush goes down with an injury. And then Carlos Hyde is doing work. Oh, getting aroused just thinking about it.
And we've been all about Carlos Hyde for a hot minute on the Dynasty Playbook.
Yeah, we were all about Carlos Hyde before there was a Dynasty Playbook.
Yeah, that's true.
Carlos Hyde was my number one running back in 2014 over Bishop Sankey, over Jeremy Hill.
Over Kadeem Carey. Yeah, Hyde was the easy RB1 in that class, but you still couldn't take him till like 108. Because the wide receivers were so hot.
I think I did 107. I think I did 106 on him one time.
I traded Jay Cutler straight up for him in a 2QB league during Hyde's rookie year. Still pretty cool with that. I haven't returned value by any stretch, but I think I will.
No, I think
when the dust settles.
I think that's returned value at this point.
I thought it was a slam dunk, and I still do. But
Cutler's probably later than a 105 in this class in terms of trade value.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, Cutler's cheap.
Cutler is, if we want to talk about buy lows for 2QB right now, Cutler is like at the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is a sneaky play.
Yeah.
That's our last question. And it's good to be back. It's so good to be back. It felt like we were gone forever, and it was only 3 weeks. We're going to plan on doing 2 shows a week at least until the draft happens. We're hoping to get some guests in with us in that time, get some differing viewpoints on some of these prospects. So really, guys, keep an active look. If you guys have – I'm not going to advise league mates because I know I don't want to be the guy who thinks that we have this great advice. But I know, like, when I first started listening to UTH, I would have never recommended them to my league mates. But if you have, like, friends that play fantasy football, recommend us to them. You know, trying to get our name out there a little bit, especially with the just wave of different podcasts out there right now.
Yeah, there's like a new one every other day.
It's crazy. And I mean,
there's some good ones too, man.
The content is awesome, but it's easy to get lost in all of that too. A great way to help with that is if you have iTunes, drop a review for us on iTunes. It takes a couple of minutes and it's a huge help to us. We really appreciate it. And I think that's about all we got.
Yeah, we had a few questions straggle in after we started recording. We'll pick them up next week. We will always get to them.
Absolutely. I did have
and
one.
If we don't, slap us across the back of the head.
Yeah, pretty much. I did have one more, though. I just finished up with at JoJo Mags. He and I just finished up our rookie IDP rankings. We did our top 24, 25 guys. That's going to be posted up on UTH here in the next couple of days. So keep an eye out for that if you're doing the IDP stuff. Other than that, that's going to be all we got. This has been the Dynasty Playbook. I've been your host, Drew. You can find me on Twitter at DrewDotsonNFL. With me has been my excellent co-host, Tyler. You can find him on Twitter at HBOMIDP. You can find the page. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and it's hosted on ffcouchcoach.com along with the submit question, along with a questionnaire where you can. Jesus!
Thank God for the editing room.
Oh, God. The guys listening to this on YouTube are going to just die. It's going to be fantastic.
Whoa.
Along with that is a form where you can submit questions for the Dynasty Playbook, and it'll be sent right to us. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week.